Hello again. In Lesson 8, we will be including the letter O in some of the words in our sentences. But first, we're going to think about some punctuation marks. A question mark that needs what looks like a full stop at the end of it. Here's where it would sit on handwriting lines. It shows the tone that is used. Is this a question mark? Then we have an exclamation mark, which again shows the tone. That's an exclamation mark. You can hear shock or surprise, and it sits just here. We're going to introduce a comma into today's sentences. They start on the line, but they curl down below it just a little way. There, it curls below it. Pause the video and practice any of these punctuation marks. We're going to be using all of them, and we will be using a comma where there is just a little pause, like somebody drawing a breath in the middle of a sentence. Here's our first sentence. Is it Mim? Listen again, or pause the video and ask somebody else to say the sentence to you. Is it Mim? How did you get on? Is, it, Mim. And Mim was a made-up name. Did you remember the capital letter? And did you hear that it was a sentence that needed a question mark? Here's our next sentence. It carries on the story. No. It is Mom. Now you can write that sentence if you like, but I've used it as an example to show you where the comma was. No, it is Mom. Can you hear? There was just a little pause. Listen to the next one, and you can write this one. So it is. So it is. So it is. There wasn't a pause, but we needed an exclamation mark. We had 3 strategy words in these sentences. Is with a capital letter. Is with a lowercase letter I, and the words no and so. There was a lot to remember. How did you get on? Perhaps you'd like to borrow somebody's phone, or maybe your own, and write an emoji story. This gets us used to the different shapes of some of the letters, like an I, which is straight, or an A, which looks as if it has a handle. Let's have a look at these sentences. Is it a rabbit? No, it is a rat. It is a pig. So it is. Maybe you'd like to write the sentences and leave a space for your own pictures. Or if you're using an iPad, use theirs. A rabbit, a rat, and a pig. These sentences have practiced no and so, and using a comma. In the next sentences, we are going to practice whether or not we say a or an. Can you remember? A before a consonant at the beginning of a word, and an before a vowel at the beginning of a word. Listen for the sentences. Is it a tin on a tin? Pause again if you'd like to. Is it a tin on a tin? How did you get on? Is it a tin on a tin? Question mark. It does look like it, doesn't it? I know what it is. It's a rolled up mat. Perhaps one like you'd use for yoga exercises. So our next sentence is, no, it is not. It is a mat. No, it is not. It is a mat. Pause again if you'd like to. No, it is not. And this time the comma's in the middle of two phrases. It is a mat. If you wrote them as two separate sentences and put a full stop here and a capital letter, that's absolutely fine. Well done, because it's quite a long sentence. This last one. Tom, it is an ant. Tom, it is an ant. Pause again if you'd like to and come back to me. Tom, it is an ant. And yes, we needed an exclamation mark and a comma for the wee pause after Tom. But golly golly gosh, that must be a good smelling biscuit tin. There's more of them. So our next sentence, no, it is not. It is ants. Listen again. No, it is not. It is ants. How did you get on? No, it is not. It is ants. More than one. And an exclamation mark. And this time it was a full stop. That's because sentences can vary. And so does when we think it's a big pause or a little pause in the middle. We'll have lots of time to practice. You might like to write another emoji story, thinking all about whether to use an or a. An apple in a backpack, a ladybird on a sunflower, an umbrella in an aeroplane, a tree on an island, an octopus in an ocean. Oh, this one has been drawn. The ocean, I think, could well be the water at Loch Lomond. And here is a tree you're more likely to see in Scotland. And our very last sentence, an ant in a tent. You decide which sort of island you'd like to draw and whether or not you are going to think about what you would find in an ocean or in a loch. Thank you for joining me.